My name is Kim Ottley. I'm the Vice President of Public Policy for the Chamber of Commerce of Southwest Indiana. Today I have the great pleasure of interviewing Lloyd Arnold, who is a candidate seeking election to the office of State Representative to the Indiana General Assembly. Please note that the same set of questions will be used for both candidates running for this office. Welcome, Lloyd.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just for the record, state your name, the office you're seeking, and your current position in employment.
My name is Lloyd Arnold, and I am seeking state representative for District 74, and I currently own a Surf Pro that operates within my district, so it's a fire and water restoration company.
Okay. Lloyd, if you're elected, what would be your top 3 priorities, and how would you seek to fund and implement those priorities while serving in the state legislature?
The top 3 priorities I have are economic development and Veterans Affairs and also education, and pro-life is also on my thing. I know you said 3, but that's 4.
You can have 4.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Do you support the Kern and Sheppard initiative? Please explain your answer.
There's certain parts of it that I do. And I know some of the things have passed, like the school boards voting in the fall, and I think that was a very good, plan to do. There's other things of it that I'm not fully aware of. I've not seen the entire plan, but bits and pieces of it. So there's some things that I think are good, and I know when I'm from a rural community, and so I think it's a little bit different based off of some of the larger communities too. So.
During the next session of the General Assembly, legislators are going to be tasked with writing a new budget. What priorities would you advocate in this process? And if a budget increase is needed, what taxes would you increase, or what budget cuts would you propose?
I'm not a big fan of making any tax increases. I know there are some things for our infrastructure in southern Indiana, such as our roads and different things, and there's a possibility, some thought of maybe using some of the sales tax or fuel as to use that revenue base instead of taxing other people, because if you use the roads, you're paying a sales tax, even though there is already an excise tax, but it's another way to get some more revenue to the state, and that'd be one way that I would think of increasing taxes if we need to help the budget out.
What do you consider to be the top transportation and infrastructure priorities for Southwest Indiana, and what plans would you have for funding them?
Right, I know with Southwest Indiana in general, I know the I-69 corridor is very important, and also find a way to make sure that bridge connects over into Kentucky. After that plan gets in place, and I'm sure that's going to roll through, because I know that I'm pretty sure that each state, Kentucky and Indiana, one state does one bridge, the other state does another bridge a lot of times, and I know they're building a bridge in the eastern part of the state right now to cross over to Louisville. So hopefully we'll find ways to get Kentucky to help us with this bridge on I-69. And then after that, push to maybe find some way to get I-67 built through to have a spur off that, to continue 231 up. And I think that would be a big help with growth in our area.
This is along the same lines, but what would you do to encourage the construction of the I-69 bridge over the Ohio River between Evansville and Henderson?
It's I don't know so much on the encourage side of it. It's just because the aspect that I feel like it's already moving forward, it's in place. But I mean, if I could do anything to help support that initiative, I'd be willing to do that. I don't know who else I would encourage that, but I think it's a very good plan for us to do.
Okay. Government does not create jobs, but it does create conditions that make additional jobs more or less likely. What conditions or economic development tools would you like to see improved upon or added in order to stimulate economic growth, create jobs, and retain current employers in Southwest Indiana?
It's almost like we're talking about the same thing. It's just for the aspect that, I know when Toyota built their manufacturing facility out there, they had a railroad spur, they had a good highway frontage, they were able to access the interstate, and plus reach their North American headquarters, in Kentucky very well. And I think if we have that structure in place throughout more areas in Indiana, one with the bridge, being able to access Kentucky back and forth, I think that'll help out with our growth, because granted, some of those people there will come here to work, businesses will move, and I think if even with the I-67 interstate being built, That's another way, just because I know in my district itself, there's shovel-ready sites in Huntingburg, there's some in Crawford County. And if we have that access, because I know the rail spurs are all there, and we had more transportation, I think that would help tremendously, help this area grow. Because, one, having the right to work state right now too, I think that helps out. It's just a good thing for business to look at and say, hey, we have access, we have transportation needs, and it's just a good place for people to work in Indiana.
Totally different topic, substance abuse, particularly methamphetamine abuse, is certainly costly and a community problem here in terms of law enforcement, crime, the judiciary, incarceration, healthcare, childcare, and other expenditures. What changes in the approach to this problem would you suggest, and how would you fund any new strategies?
Currently, well, not now, because now that I'm running for state office, I've been a reserve sheriff's deputy for the last 7 years. So I've seen a lot of the stuff firsthand. It is a big problem. It is something that I think we need to work with. But one thing that I think may slow down some of the growth or inhibit it a little bit is we have a lot of systems in place in Indiana that help people with, some of the social systems we have with food stamps and those type of things. And I think anytime you go get a job anywhere, it doesn't matter where it is, you get a drug test. So I think if we start testing a lot of these people on some of these programs, it might decrease the amount of drug use, knowing, hey, they're not going to have that money to help, feed their children or, to pay their electric bill and those type of things. So I think it might curb some of that, and I know there's multiple other things out there, but that's a good thing that I think we need to push forward.
Okay. Finally, what's your long-term vision for Southwest Indiana, including the counties that you'll be representing, and what specific ideas or proposals would you suggest to improve the quality of life in our region?
Everything we just talked about.
Okay.
I just think those are some good things that we could do. I don't want to find ways where we don't, increase tax burden on people, and just make sure it's a good place for people to live in Indiana. Just good common sense, conservative leadership is what I'm going to do.
Well, Lloyd, we greatly appreciate your time today. If you have a campaign website or contact information that you'd like to share, please do so now.
My website is actually just my name, so it's www.lloydarnold.com, and there's places on there where you can contact me also, and my email address is arnold4rep@gmail.com, but it's also on the website, so you can find it there too.
Okay, thanks again for your participation. For our viewers, the interview and all of the candidate interviews conducted by the Chamber of Commerce of Southwest Indiana will be accessible on the Chamber's website at www.ccswin.com. Please note that the contents of this video interview and all the candidate interviews are only for authorized use by the Chamber of Commerce of Southwest Indiana.